Hi, it's Tim Michelle. Birdsong Eve, mother of all living, daughter of the sun. The name of this video is part 4. Meek Eve claims her inheritance from the billionaires. Okay, so while the sun's daughter has being Socrates, Shakespeare, Emerson, Ayn Rand, Marian Anderson, Henry Ford, Nikola Tesla, Beethoven, and projected herself as Mark Twain, Albert Einstein, and goddess of sex Marilyn Monroe, and Cupid, and many other notables. There's no way these souls should be destitute, meaning the son's daughter and her children and her grandchildren. Think how much good they would do in the world if they had the resources they're owed. The son's daughter's children have being as Vincent van Gogh, St. Patrick, Michelangelo, Kepler, Wilbur Wright, King Charlemagne, Mozart, and St. John the Baptist. The world owes these people just as they owe the sun and universe an unfathomable amount of money. I'm kind of lost here. Okay. So they owe these people an unfathomable amount of money, yet they've not paid 1 cent on the cost of the sun, nor the cost of the universe. Article says some billionaires have made large donations during the pandemic, but Collins says we can't let that philanthropy distract us from the larger conversation of inequality. Philanthropy is really not a substitute for a fair tax system and an inadequately funded public safety net, he says. For the millions of Americans struggling to pay rent, buy groceries, count the son's pregnant daughter, his grandchildren and great-grandchildren among them, just trying to survive this pandemic. Note the son's heirs were struggling to survive all their lives this life. Collins notes that times of disaster do especially highlight the unseemly underbelly of an inequality. But he also sees this time as somewhat of an awakening. The good news is most people understand this. They actually support the public policies that would move us in the other directions, such as a wealth tax or progressive inheritance tax, or even a $15 minimum. Eve will be happy to pay an inheritance tax as soon as she's been paid her full inheritance of $90 septillion. Even a $15 minimum wage for grocery store employees and other workers. Eve notes that doesn't work. That just means small businesses can't afford to hire people at those rates. The article says our politicians might catch up to where the general public is. Eve says the whole world is oblivious to the debt to the sun hiding in plain sight. When it comes to addressing these inequalities, No one is equal to the sun in output. No one benefits the people in the world as much as the sun does, and his heir, and her heirs. Yet they are paid nothing on his and the universe's costs. Their output does not equal their pay. Zero. That is the most unequal situation in the world. People appreciate his benefits superficially, meaning the sun's benefits, and they definitely take his contributions to their lives, like heat and energy for food, for granted, which is why the subject of paying the sun and the queen of the universe their costs has never come up before she brought it up within the past couple of years. A voice in the wilderness. She has received no feedback. Eve started speaking up for the angels and God in the high heavens being crowded by the many airplanes and satellites. The video to watch on Miles Red Birdsong's YouTube channel is called "I Told You Earth Was Under Arrest in December. What did you expect? About the pandemic?" The question is the sun is the highest power. Don't anger him further. Hashtag N3. Hashtag Fire Fauci. Hashtag Dr. Erickson. Video breaking. This ER doctor just nuked Fauci's pandemic. Fraud. Straight to hell. He says millions of cases, very small deaths. Millions of cases, very small deaths. And this video can be seen at the Next News Network. I absolutely recommend it. It's part of a press conference that this doctor's giving. Jesus Christ, being Gurinder Singh Dhillon, being the Buddha, said to his disciples, "This too shall pass. Everything is going to be fine." Heard on Next News Network. Remember, you possess the power to affect the narrative. And the Dr. Erickson said the chances of dying in New York of coronavirus is 0.1%. And he had the data, he had the figures. I'm talking about this video. Tell your representatives in Washington to allocate funds to pay the costs of the universe and the sun. $90 septillion to pay on it. Nobody expects you to pay the whole thing at once. And tell the billionaires to distribute their funds to pay on the cost of the sun and the universe. Video. SG report says their tyranny requires our compliance. Their tyranny requires our compliance. New York Presbyterian. Renaming the psychiatric programs provides consistency and cohesiveness to the extensive psychiatric services, Miles Red, offered by New York Presbyterian Will Cornell, both in New York City and Westchester. The Payne Whitney name is well known throughout the psychiatric community and was selected because it connotes high-quality psychiatric services and programs with the general public. People present R for her, O for order, G for God, R for her, AM for am. Present her order. God, her, Eve, am, Ma. mother of all living. Talk and share. Therapy is paying attention to every word uttered by the patient. That's what mothers do. They listen to their children and give them feedback. Let me just say that you're looking at a picture of Payne Whitney being Gurinder Singh Dillon. In his will in 1927, he allocated $12 million to build a psychiatric facility. Okay, so that's what mothers do. They listen to their children and give them feedback. The feedback the talk and share therapist gives back is to mirror the person. Talk and share therapy was created by Eve with the guidance of Jesus Christ. And you're looking at a picture of him being Gurinder Singh Dillon. Okay. And yeah, in one of his past lives, he was Payne Whitney also. Okay. We've had over 10,000 births, you know. So, if the person says, example of a talk and share therapy session, I'm going to marry Trump. The talk and share therapist says back, you're going to marry Trump. The patient hears what the patient, had said and says, yes. Happy that communication had occurred. You believe I don't know what to do with this camera. You believe you're going to marry Trump? Yes. Then you can broach new territory, therapist. Why do you believe you're going to marry Trump? Patient answers, because I saw him at a rally and he looked at me like he wanted me. Therapy. Trump looked at you? Patient, yes. He wants you? Patient, yes. You believe he wants you? Patient answers, yes. Are you imagining he looked at you and wanted you? Patient hears the question and answers, maybe. Are you delusional? Patient answers, maybe. Are you deluding yourself? Answer, yes. Did you look at Trump and want to marry him? Answer, yes. Are you projecting your desire onto Trump? Answer, yes. Are you wanting to marry? Answer, yes. Can you go to where marriageable guys are? Where? The gym, the church, maybe. What kind of man do you want to marry? Patient says, one that won't hurt me. Somebody with a job. Somebody who will love me. Somebody who will go places with me. Somebody who won't cheat on me. Somebody who likes music. Somebody who will protect me. An honest man who will always tell me the truth so I can trust him. A smart man. A man with a sense of humor. Therapist. Do you believe you can attract a man with the qualities you want? Patient, I don't know. Therapist, you can if you believe you can. Why wouldn't you be able to attract what you want? Patient, I never have. Therapist, never have gotten what you've wanted? Patient, yes. Therapist, when didn't you get what you wanted? Patient, I didn't get Trump. Therapist, is Trump already gotten? Did Melania get him? Patient, yes. Therapist, do you want what belongs to Melania? Patient, yes. Therapist, is it a sin to want what doesn't belong to you? To want what belongs to somebody else? Patient, yes. Therapist, are you mad? Therapist, after looking it up. Exodus 20:17. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's husband. The whole world is our neighbor, added Eve. nor his manservant, back to the Bible, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. In other words, says Eve, anybody else's. Okay, that's modified from https://quod quote dot lib, maybe for library, dot umich, maybe for University of Michigan, dot edu education, King James Version. The patient was feeling not mad, not delusional, intellect satisfied. So we ended the session. Christian boomer ladies would be ideal talking chair therapists, especially mothers and grandmothers. Eve hopes King James, now the being Robin Michelle Birdsong, author, astrologer, rewrites the King James Version of the Bible, updating it so it sounds current, and correct the verse in Genesis that said, "And he shall rule over thee." You can reference the Bishop's Bible, Genesis 3:16, "And he shall have the rule of thee." Have definition, experiences, undergo. I don't mind undergoing her rule. She has great ideas and she's tactful when sharing them. She's not bossy. Rule definition, noun, one of a set of explicit or understood regulations or principles governing conduct within a particular activity or sphere, such as marriage. S for she, P for presents, H for heaven, harmony. HERE for here, Eve energy. She presents heaven, harmony, here on earth, Eve energy, mother of all living. The rules of the union, marriage, were two: respect self and spouse, and achieve right understanding, communicate feelings honestly with talk and share practice. Amid anxiety, these are some news, mainstream news to you. Clues. Amid anxiety, Georgia lets close contact businesses reopen. USA Today says coronavirus, Georgia businesses reopen. New York Daily News says Marianne Faithfull survives coronavirus.